Hi, my name is Garrett Christopher. This is my YouTube channel, Garrett Sports Rant. Garrett Sports Channel. I'm doing rants. This is not a rant this time around. What this is me saying thank you to the 2021 version of the LA Dodgers. So Game 6 was last night against the Braves, and the Dodgers had some chances to get back in that game and perhaps to even win the game, at least tie it up. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't get the big hit. The Braves got a big hit, 3-run homer, and in the fourth, I believe. And yeah, that was that. And we had second and third, nobody out, and couldn't get anyone in. That's tough. That's a tough way to lose it, but it is what it is. Okay. So, by the way, please visit my other channels. I also saw 007 today, No Time to Die, and I just critique that on my YouTube channel at Garrett's Sports Take, Garrett's Movie Take. Speaking of takes, I do this again. Anyway, Garrett's Movie Take, and so please, no spoilers, but check that out for me. I'm a self-published author. Please visit GarrettChristopher.com. You'll find out more about me. I've got a new book coming out. I think that right now, all I'm waiting on, waiting for the audiobook to be approved, and I'm waiting for the paperback to get to me. It's in print, so I can look at it to make sure it's good. And if it is, boom, we're good to go. It could be Halloween. It could still be a Halloween release, and so I'm hoping for that. If not, first week in November. It's right around the corner. We're right there. What else we got? Yeah, that's The Takeover, first part of a sci-fi series. I do audiobooks, so along with The Takeover that's coming out here pretty soon, as soon as it's approved, I have two other ones for The Chair and for The Studio Musician. Those are available on Audible and iTunes, so please check that out. And I do a weekly podcast available on Soundcloud and Spotify. So please, I'm everywhere. Say hi when you visit, okay? Please do. You guys aren't doing that. Please say hello. Please. Rich, you're the only one that says hello. Even Aaron has gone by the wayside. He won't say hi anymore. But Rich does. I appreciate you, Rich. Anyway, what do we got? Okay, let's talk about the Dodgers. And let's talk about I'll make this quick, but I'll give you my point of view for the season, right? So I wish I started this channel back in before the season began, because as I'm looking at the team, Jock Peterson went elsewhere and Kike Hernandez went elsewhere. And I told myself and one of my children, actually, and said, there's one thing missing. We're missing that bat off the bench. We're missing the bat off the bench, and it's going to hurt us. Now, trust me, we had possible all-stars at each position right on down the line. So it's not like we were missing that. But even with the A.J. Pollock, Chris Taylor thing, who's going to play in left field, and then, was Gavin Lux going to be the second baseman, all this kind of stuff. It was still a matter of, I really felt like we were missing that person who comes in, the Manny Mota. We're missing Manny Mota to come in and pinch hit in the 8th, in the 7th, or whatever. When we picked up Albert from the Angels, I thought perhaps that was going to be it, but he didn't do very well against righties. And at times, I love Albert Pujols, but yeah, it didn't always come through, right? So I didn't feel that it was good to have him there, and I thought he was great for the team. I wouldn't mind seeing him back next year, but he wasn't the answer as far as that bat off the bench, right? We had some young kids, Zach McKinstry, then Steven Souza Jr. got some time, and think about it. In these playoffs, in the League Championship Series, we're using some guys as pinch hitters that shouldn't have been on the roster at all. So it kind of came down to, some injuries came into play. But I think even going into the season, we didn't have that veteran bat off the bench. Kike wanted to play. So did Jock. So they weren't really going to be options for that. But, what can you do? All right. So still had a good season. We had a great season. And it was, we went through 2 rounds. And again, just one good hit would have taken us into a Game 7. And then you got Max, perhaps, So funny how at the beginning of the season, it's kind of like the Dodgers have too many pitchers. He really got down to just 2 pitchers, and really one on proper rest. The other 2 would have been on one. Walker was on 3 days rest, and then Max, who couldn't go. So crazy. So you went from all these pitchers, a plethora of starters, to So let's talk about that for a second. What's going to happen next year? Do you re-sign Clayton? Perhaps maybe a 2-year. What does he want? The arm's going. We had a couple of injuries this year. So it's like, how much do you want to give him? I love Clayton Kershaw. He's been great. He's a Hall of Famer, that's for sure. But at this point, he's 4th or 5th starter. You got Julio. You have Walker Buehler. I think you try and re-sign Max Scherzer. Trevor Bauer's bye-bye. Please, let's get him out of there. Justin May won't be back until middle of the season. Tony Gonsolin, give him a shot. So truthfully, you have 2 bona fide starters. If you don't sign Max, and depending on what Mr. Kershaw does, even if you do sign him, he's a 4th or 5th starter. You don't have a number 3. So you don't get Max. You got to get somebody else in there. Yeah. So that's how I see that. As far as position players, I think we're fine with that. AJ has another, a year under his belt. Corey Seager. What do you do with Corey? We've always known that I love Corey's attitude, his personality. He's a heck of a hitter, heck of a player. I like him in LA. I think he's the kind of guy you want. The camaraderie around this team is very, very good. I'm glad Justin Turner came back. Not because he's such a great third baseman or a great hitter. He's very, very good. Very, very good. But he's also getting older, right? But just great for the team. I mean, these guys were not going to quit. They just didn't get the big hit, right? That rhymes, by the way. So I like the makeup of the squad. I don't think you need to change anything, crazy. But what do you do? I mean, Trey Turner has one more year on his contract. Do you put him in short and let Corey kind of check things around? Do you want to give him this monster contract? Yeah, Mookie's got a monster contract. And if you had to choose, do you choose Corey Seager or Max Scherzer? I don't know. Max was great this year. He might be the Cy Young winner, or at least top 5. And he'll do that again next year, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I don't know. If you put Trey back at his natural position at shortstop, have Justin at third, and then at second, give Gavin another shot who came through. And his center field was not his gig. It's not his. Okay, it is his fault that he missed the ball, but it's not his fault because he hasn't been playing there all year long. He's a good athlete. The fact that he even went out there and did what he did was very, very good. But he's a shortstop. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I mean, you can't. I know they have up to this point, but you can't just keep throwing money at everything. So Corey, I don't know. What are you going to do? Or do you trade Trey, keep Corey, and use Trey for bait for a pitcher or something like that and get that, contract off the books? Max will be back. That's a big thing, by the way. Max Muncy not being in that lineup. He might be the MVP of that lineup. By the way, Mr. Bellinger, thank you for coming through and for doing what you got to do and take care of business. Seriously. You know what? Most impressive hit? Well, the most impressive was a 3-run homer. That was crazy. But the second most impressive hit of that series was what? Was that just play a little bit of, what was it back in the day? They had it at Candlestick, and they had no pepper, right? Just a little pepper shot through the shortstop gap to score the run. That was incredible. I mean, I love it. Didn't just swing for the fences. He actually, I'm here to win. That was really cool. I was really happy to see that. Mr. Bellinger, I appreciate that. And the fact you had a really good playoffs makes me very happy for next year. So, I mean, you've got some monsters in that lineup. But tell you what, Max not being there, that gives, and not that like Chris is great and AJ's great and Corey's great. Corey didn't have a great series. Trey Turner had one good game. The rest wasn't great. Here we go. Justin was out. Having Max in there, I think it makes a huge difference. That guy, you can't mess around with that guy. He will smack the ball. I think he's the one, he and then Corey, when he's on fire, are the ones that strike fear as far as that, man, this guy's going to pound this ball. And you can't get it, even the high fastball. He'll just smack it most of the time. That was a big thing. I think that made a huge difference. What can you do? Last game of the season, you're trying to win the division, and then the arm thing is just, oh my goodness. So really, this year, from the get-go, was just a tough year. Injuries, you had Cody Bellinger was out quite a bit, Corey, and you had Mookie Betts with the back and all this stuff. And so the fact they got this far proved a couple of things. Number one, they had a lot of talent and have a lot of talent on this team. And secondly, proved the fact that there's no quit in this team. So, you know what? I like him. Dave Roberts, should he have pitched Max Scherzer in Game 5 against the Giants in the 9th inning? Probably not, but he did. Definitely felt that what he did in Game 2 with Julio was just crazy dumb. Why would you do that? Here's the take. In Game 5 against the Giants, you wanted to do something special and you wanted to have that set up. So you moved everyone up an inning and you had Max for the 9th. Okay. For whatever reason, you felt you wanted to do that. There it is. That's Game 5. That was a winner take all. This is Game 2. You're in Atlanta. You're up 4-2. Why do you change what you've done? Well, you've done all season long. Last year, him keeping Julio in the game, 7th, 8th, 9th innings, Kenley wasn't doing so well, was a change for the better. It was kind of like, thank goodness this guy finally gets it. Kenley can't close the game right now. This year, Kenley, after those 3 blown saves, what was that, back in June or whatever, was lights out. Incredible. He was great. He was a guy who's looking for a new contract. By the way, do you re-sign him? 2 years maybe? I don't know. but he was pitching. He was pitching his butt off. But they couldn't hit Blake. I hit him a couple times, but for the most part, why don't you stick with what you had? You got to get Julio. Are you treating it like it was a bullpen session in between starts? Is that what you were trying to do there? I know that Julio was just lights out last year, but in his mind, he was already set up to come in the later part of the game, right? That was his deal, and it worked out. You caught fire with him, right? Just like the kid that was, I guess he broke the record for the Braves as far as the most hits in a championship series. I can't think of his name. He's the one who hit a 3-run home run. You caught fire. That kid you could not get him out no matter what you did. You just caught fire. You caught fire with Julio last year. This year, it wasn't so much. Why'd you change things up? You had a 4-2. Just run it the way you do. And if Blake, who pitched 9 pitches the inning before, run him back out there. You had it. And I think with Julio, and hopefully he talked to him before the game and talked about, hey, I want to use you tonight, so he's mentally prepared. But even then, that's your starter coming in, in an upcoming game. I didn't care for that because you win that second game in Atlanta. And I know ifs and buts. My brother-in-law, ifs and buts and cans were nuts every day would be Christmas. I get that. But, if you win game 2 in Atlanta, you probably take this series because just climbing in there, just like if you get the big hit last time going to game 7, I'm pretty sure you take the series. That'd have been incredible. But hats off to the Braves, though. Congratulations, Atlanta. First World Series since, was it 99? Is that correct? It's not so long ago. For the Dodgers, it was since 88. Anyway, congratulations to them. I think the Astros were going to win. I really wanted those Astros. I really wanted to get back to those Astros this year. But so be it. We're in a full strength, but few teams are when it comes into the end of the season and the playoffs. Don't want to sound like sour grapes, woulda, coulda, shoulda, that kind of a thing, but had a good season. So going into next year, if I'm the GM, I really consider, the Clayton thing, Kenley thing, and the Corey Seager thing as far as like just being cautious and careful. I know they want to roll it out there. You'd love to run it back, but I don't think you can with all of them, especially not at the prices that they're, considering right now. So we'll find out. If you want to be a Dodger, you'll come back at a certain amount. My fear is that Scott Boras is Corey's agent, and Scott just grills you for all you're worth. I know Corey wants to come back, but yeah, Scott will just take you for whatever. So let's say he doesn't come back. You've got some other guys that, are there, and Trey Turner's one of those, before the year began, that you looked at and said, hey, wait a minute, if we don't get Corey, maybe Trey could be the guy. Would you put Trey at short, or do you put Gavin Lux at short? Well, I don't like him at short. I don't like him at second either, but better there. How would that combination work? Just as good as Corey Seager. Corey's great. I love him. He's an incredible hitter. But as a fielder, it's tough. It's tough being that height and that large and be able to really get the range and that kind of a thing. So you lose a little bit with Corey Seager at shortstop. No more you'd lose if Trey Turner was there. So maybe that's what it is. Turner, Lux, Muncy, and then you got your 3 guys in the outfield, be it Pollock or Taylor, depending. And that kind of a thing. And then have a couple of nice backups. Have a couple of guys that aren't rookies, that aren't trying to prove themselves in the big leagues. Have some guys that know what's happening, in there, both lefty and righty type of thing. So, and then you got to sign a frontline pitcher. The Trevor Bauer thing did not work out. Bye-bye, Trevor. So you need to either sign Max or someone else, and depending if Clayton comes back. But I don't look at him as a 1, 2, 3. He's more a 4 or 5 as far as I'm concerned. And you got Tony Gonsolin to fill out the end of the rotation, and then take it from there. You know what I mean? Yeah, so there you have it. That's my take. Great season, LA Dodgers. Appreciate you, 2021. And hey, we'll come back next year. This team's not going anywhere. I'm going to be right back in there. But we need to get another frontline pitcher to make that happen. All right? Cool. Thanks so much for checking in. Please visit GaretChristopher.com and my other YouTube channels. And you have yourself a great, great day. By the way, my Dolphins lost today. Another late minute field goal, late second field goal. And we're 1-6. That's nasty. It's a bad season. They're going to lose next week to Buffalo. And then after that, who knows? Man, they might not win 5 games this year. No bueno. It's tough. And the Lakers are 0-2. So right now, I need a hug. Thanks so much for checking in. GoPro, stop recording.